This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Mackerel shot dead after gunmen interrupt domino game in Clarendon. Police detectives are probing Thursday's gun attack in Monimus, Clarendon, which left one man dead and two other persons injured. The deceased has been identified as a 39-year-old Oral Coleman, alias Mackerel, of Monimus housing scheme in the parish. Reports from the Mapen police are that about 7:45 p.m., Coleman was among a group of men playing dominoes when gunmen pounced and opened fire at them. After the shooting subsided and the gunmen escaped, Coleman was found suffering from gunshot wounds, while two other persons were seen with minor injuries. They were taken to the hospital where Coleman was pronounced dead. A motive for the shooting incident has not been ascertained. Exclansman says he tipped off police to gang's burial site. The unofficial burial site the police in 2020 said was linked to the infamous Klansman gang after lawmen found the remains of at least two people there when investigators revisited a cold case was allegedly discovered as a result of intelligence from a former gang member turned Crown witness now testifying in the trial of 33 individuals accused of being part of the Spanish Town-based criminal enterprise. Witness number 1, the second of the 42 witnesses to be called by the Crown in the case involving 32 men and 1 female, including alleged leader Andre Blackman Bryan, made the claim Friday during cross-examination on behalf of the accused Pete Miller, otherwise called Smokey. Bryan had challenged the witness's account of an incident in Rivoli, St. Catherine, where he claimed that he had seen her client in the company of other men beating 2 men from the Denham Town community in Kingston, who they subsequently killed and buried. According to the attorney, the witness had lied since a 2018 visit by the police in the company of the witness, who carried the cops to that area to search for the bodies. Turned up nothing. The first time we went, we didn't find anything, but they find it the second time. The witness, who has been testifying from a remote location since early this month, shot back confidently. In a news report of that incident in 2020, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, Fitzbailey, told the newspaper that intelligence had led lawmen to an area dense with vegetation known as Waterloo Close, bordering Rivoli in the old capital, 2 years after investigators first visited the location but had come up empty-handed. 2 charged in relation to ammunition bust in St. Catherine. 2 persons have been charged in connection with last week's ammunition seizure in Spanish Town and Portmore, St. Catherine. They are 33-year-old Horace Pettinod, a salesman of Cumberland, St. Catherine, and the 62-year-old Shirley Lang, a supervisor employed to the Portmore Municipal Corporation. It was reported that the police conducted an operation in Tawes Meadows and arrested Mr. Pettinod after seizing nearly 50 rounds of ammunition, which were allegedly found in his possession. They conducted another raid at his house in Cumberland and seized an additional 100 rounds of ammunition. Mr. Lang, who was an occupant of the house, was taken into custody. They are booked to appear in court on Tuesday. Deputy Superintendent Linroy Edwards, head of operations for the St. Catherine North Police, told the news that an investigation is being carried out to ascertain if Mr. Pettinod had been selling ammunition to members of the criminal underworld. St. Elizabeth farmer killed in dispute over motorcycle. A 19-year-old farmer was killed on Thursday night in Bull Savannah, St. Elizabeth. He has been identified as Romario Barnes of Red Bank, St. Elizabeth. The incident, which occurred about 8:45 p.m., is believed to have stemmed from a dispute over a stolen motorcycle. It was reported that on Monday, Mr. Barnes was involved in an argument with a group of men over the motorcycle. A report was made to the Junction Police. Mr. Barnes was taken into custody and questioned after it was discovered that the motorcycle he drove to the station was neither licensed nor insured and had no license plate. He was released 2 days later. On Thursday night, while visiting the home of his child's mother, Mr. Barnes was approached by a gunman who shot him and fled. Some 75% of Bellevue Hospital patients are social cases, Tufton reveals. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has revealed that 75% of the patients at the Bellevue Hospital in St. Andrew have been discharged but remain at the institution because family members have abandoned them. The hospital, which was established to provide care for mentally ill clients, remains under intense pressure to care for these so-called social cases as it continues to receive new patients. Dr. Tufton made the disclosure on Thursday following his parliamentary presentation, where he announced plans to take legal action against those persons who abandon relatives at hospitals. Those cases will be heard in court in January. Dr. Tufton noted that Bellevue Hospital has practically been converted to an infirmary since the majority of its patients have been forced to remain at the institution for decades, even up to 40 years, despite being discharged. When we make attempts to bring these persons to their homes, the family members tell you no, they reject them, or they push them out. That's why mental health and homelessness are so intricately related, because normally the abandonment means they end up on the streets, the minister pointed out. UK deportation flight which returned 4 Jamaicans raises questions about viability. Questions have been raised in the UK about the continuing viability of deportation flights after the Home Office's admission that only 4 people were deported to Jamaica on a flight in early hours of Wednesday morning. The plane, which can take up to 350 passengers, left Birmingham Airport after the original list of more than 50 deportees dwindled following legal challenges. The 4 Jamaicans were accompanied by escorts. A report in the Guardian newspaper says the average cost of a Home Office deportation charter flight is £200,000. So Wednesday's operation cost the British taxpayers the equivalent of £50,000 for each deportee. In a statement, Home Secretary Priti Patel said the people removed to Jamaica were convicted criminals who have been found guilty of a range of serious offenses. She expressed dissatisfaction that the last-minute legal claims stopped the removal of 33 people. The Home Secretary made no mention in her statement that some removal directions were deferred because of COVID-19 outbreak at Collinbrook Immigration Removal Center near Heathrow. Home Office sources confirmed the outbreak and said they were working closely with the UK Health Security Agency to tackle it. One lawyer who represented several people who were on the list for the Jamaica flight said some of those who were scheduled to be removed from the UK were unable to access legal advice prior to being detained due to the cost, while others had obtained poor quality advice. Continued closure of Melrose Park irks councillors. Yesterday's monthly meeting of the Manchester Municipal Corporation was marked by anger and unease over the prolonged closure of Melrose Park. The facility was ordered closed by the Health Department on August 16, 2021 due to breaches, but yesterday, Mandeville Mayor Donovan Mitchell and Councillor Mario Mitchell of the Belfield Division People's National Party expressed disappointment that the facility remained closed despite the correction of breaches. Every time that there is an inspection done, we shift the goalpost, and so no matter how best we are working or trying to do what we are doing, the goalpost moves, and once that happens, we can't achieve the goal that we are going at, said Mayor Mitchell, PNP of Royal Flat Division. Mitchell said 95% of the work at the facility was completed and insisted that minor work should be completed by this weekend. He appealed to the Health Department to be more considerate of the vendors who have been out of a job for almost 3 months. He said discussions were also ongoing for the rebranding of the Yam Park by J. Ray and Nephew. If you ask these vendors to stick to just their roast yam, we would not have any problems. We have 10 shops at the front. These are 10 families that are suffering from August 16 under this pandemic. I know the health of the nation is important, but we have to be a little bit more considerate as it relates to these people. They have their children going to school. They have a whole lot of other things, and the little money that they make sometimes can hardly maintain these families, he said. People are suffering. It is coming to the festive season. We have to be a little more considerate and have some human in us, he added. When the news toured the Yam Park with the mayor and officers of the municipality on Wednesday, a public health inspector said work had to be done to fireplaces in the tent stalls where vendors prepare roast yam. but the mayor contended that no work needed to be done to the fireplaces and pointed out that the issue was not included in the initial recommendations from the health department. Councillor Mario Mitchell meanwhile said it is impractical for the vendors to remain deprived of their livelihoods. The majority live in my division and I get the calls. These are not rich people. It has been from August and these minor things need to be done, and it cannot be that people who are government workers who no matter what is happening, whether the country collects taxes, get their pay, and these vendors have families to look after and they have been out of a source of income for months, he said. It is impractical for us to sit here another month. I am not going to accept it, he added. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.